Folks, welcome to race number 18 of the Bwoah Racing League Season 4, and we head to the Suzuka circuit. I'm super pumped for this race, and I'm Sarthak if you don't know, and as always, Ruds is alongside of me. What's up, Rudra?
Hip and happening as usual. I don't know why that was a weird intro for me.
No, it's actually
that's
good.
How excited I am.
I was actually pretty impressed. Trust me, I'm very happy.
In that case, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But
I think it's
super
fair.
excited.
It's fair to be super excited ahead of this kind of race. If my memory serves me right, I think last season the title was decided at this race. Am I right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, the title was decided without the champion racing on that day.
Yeah, it was. Accelerate ended up P3 or yeah, if I'm not wrong. And Big Man Joe hadn't even come on to the track that day, and he won from his home, from the luxury of
Exactly.
spectating the race.
He might as well have been sitting in the pit lane relaxing while watching what his competitors did. And it was difficult for Accelerate, to be honest, because he had to win the race as well as get the fastest lap, which was a huge task nonetheless. But sadly, he fell short of it, and yeah, it didn't end up working out that well.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Accelerate as we speak, he's got to have a huge smile on his face now. I mean, it's pouring out there in qualifying. I wonder if we'll see this continue into the race. But one thing's for sure, I heard him talking about a wet setup of sorts ahead of qualifying itself, and I'm pretty sure he's excited for this one.
I definitely would hope so. We call him the rain, we have termed his special move the rain dance, and looks like his dance has worked today. But then again, if the race is dry, the cars will need to have the dry setup on, and they will have to sacrifice quali in a way.
All right. We, of course, as always, on my screen, we've got Sicknig and KDB out on track. We've seen the two give each other a slipstream in the past couple of qualifying sessions, as always. And of course, Big Man Joe being quick in the chat to correct us that it was Brazil and not Suzuka, in fact, where the title was decided. Fair enough. I knew I kind of got that messed up, just like the Haas driver out on track got his turn messed up and had a
Well, that was
funny little
maybe
spin.
Shumi taking Sicknig out as well. Cautionary, Sicknig had to avoid the action.
Horning's out on track. Most of the drivers are out on track to set their first lap times. You got Vex as well, who supposedly has come out of retirement, some might say.
At this point, I'm not even sure if Vex is in retirement or out of it. He could be doing both at the same time. That's how chaotic his second half of the season has been.
Vex, my friend, I don't think retirement works that way. But regardless, but yeah, let's talk about.
If he wants a vacation, he might as well ask for it. No need to retire for that, you know?
True, ain't that right? Let's talk about Baby Shumi coming back out on track, and if he can possibly get a point or two, or even more for that matter, maybe the constructors' title fight's still on between Haas and Racing Point.
I would sure hope so, because right now, General Pepe alone is just not enough for the Racing Point. The Racing Point cars are in tremendous form right now. Both the cars are doing well, both the drivers are doing well, and they are starting to build a significant gap in the Constructors' Championship. And I think Baby Shumi has to step up for these last few races, or else I think General Pepe will have no choice but to focus only on the drivers.
Yeah, but one thing's for sure, General Pepe had mentioned how he was a bit disappointed, and it did kind of hurt when you saw the Racing Point. Speaking of Racing Point, completely off track into the gravel goes, I presume, Sicknig in Sector 2. He was on a fast lap as well, so clearly he's struggling to find grip out there. Back to my point, General Pepe mentioned how he was a bit hurt that he couldn't perform, at least as a team, along with another driver by his side in the past couple of races, but clearly today maybe he could.
It definitely is a difficult scenario to be presented in. If you remember last season, with Rocketman having some off races, Big Man Joe was trying to pull Alfa Romeo as much as possible in the constructors. But you could see how UK and Setu were performing in the Haas and trying to shorten that gap and even try to overtake. So it's definitely a two-car job, and so far this season, it looks like Racing Point have the upper hand right now.
Clearly they do. They're looking incredibly quick, and the first bunch of lap times are coming in. 1 minute 42.247 by KDB, fastest out there. Baby Shumi puts in a 1 minute 47.222. I'm pretty sure he'll
Almost
look
5
forward to
seconds
improve
behind,
that.
but yeah, I think because Signig also lost his lap and he's starting his hot lap again. He's 3 seconds behind. Horning is less than 5 tenths behind KDB, so maybe we can see a good wet weather performance. I'm not jinxing him because he's the only Mercedes on track today, but let's hope he has a good race. He was so close to points last weekend.
You know, it almost seemed like I saw Red Bull turning the wrong way on the track, but seems to have sorted itself out. Regardless, only 6 drivers out on track who said lap times. You got Accelerate getting in the mix as well.
I just saw an Alpha Tauri. I think that was Gambler. Yes, it was Gambler spinning at the hairpin close to sector 2. But he's back on track and on his way.
Also, something to mention, Avi is apparently doing this qualifying session while watching MotoGP live. Fritz, I'm pretty sure you're a bit envy of that.
Oh, let's not discuss that or my heart will just sink.
Yeah, but regardless, just under 12 minutes left into shock qualifying, and let's stay on board Gambler. He did have a spin, so clearly this is not his best lap. Let's switch to Siknig, who just set the fastest lap time, 1 minute 41.646. So he's clearly found a bit of time through the track.
Yep, exactly 6 tenths faster than KDB. But I definitely feel that with the rain increasing right now, do you think so, Sadar? I think the rain has definitely increased since we started. It's pouring right now, so I think that lap times may not go down. So as things stand, maybe the top 5 will remain the top 5.
You think so? With Siknig and KDB locking out the front row yet again? 2 consecutive weekends?
Mainly because the rain is increasing and that is not good for any lap times, obviously. And yeah, it doesn't look good right now, but we still have 10 minutes. If the rain reduces, yeah. Let's keep our hopes up.
Yeah, 1 minute 42.645, the time on the board for General Pepe, our championship leader. Gives him third fastest so far. Mr. Wex in the mix as always. The funny thing about Mr. Wex is, regardless of his retirement plans or even the fact that he does get caught off guard with a couple of bad races, is that he always manages to be in the top 6. Like, more often than not. We saw this in season 3. I, for one, expected it to actually improve and see him in the front runners in P1, P2, P3 more often this season, but unfortunately we didn't get to see that. You remember last season, the US GP, Goods?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Now, on track, he won the race on track, but unfortunately after post-race time penalties, it was Big Man Joe who ended up winning that one. So yeah, finished first.
It was a bummer, but I definitely feel that there is one thing Wex has that many drivers on the grid don't, and that is consistency. He has that ability to put the car as high up as possible. It might not always convert to the same results in the race, but that's more of the pace issue rather than consistency. But yeah, he's a very dependable driver.
Right, and a bunch of times coming in, and of course Big Man Joe giving his input as well in the chat. Says top 5 ain't gonna remain top 5, half the grid yet to set a lap. Track evolution with a lot of cars clearing the water on track. So he thinks. I'm on board. Wixie 56, he's coming out on the intermediates. Meanwhile, I think I was right with regard to that Red Bull turning the wrong way, because Rusty Nish seems to have retired from qualifying. And we got Setu RC18 turning the wrong way, was turning the wrong way, and sorted himself out. And onwards he goes.
Well, if they are coming out on the inters, and that would mean that the rain is reducing, or maybe it's a risky attempt. I, for one, on my screen see the droplets still fogging up the screen and it's pouring, so maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong for the sake of the rest of the grid.
I feel it's reduced a bit, but intermediate's probably audacious. We'll find out. Vic356 is here to give us a lesson or two on what tires are best for these conditions.
Well, the inters are definitely quicker, but they're of no use if you can't even grip the track. And so far it looks like he's almost drifting. Yep, barely able to hold it. I still feel it's a bit too wet for the inters right now. You can look at the track in its shiny glory. We don't have the racing line, the dry line, Sarthak, if you notice, we don't have that yet.
Yeah.
And my theory suggests that maybe the dry line will not build until the last 2-3 minutes. So
we could possibly see drivers who we don't usually see in the top 5. What do you reckon?
Well, if it turns out that the bottom half of the grid goes out on inters and are able to set times before the front runners, we might see some classic reverse grid fashion happening today. But yeah, Vix356 starting his flying laps, so definitely we'll be able to gauge what sort of times we can expect.
Alright, and goes to sector 1.
I just feel that the sector 1 is kind of like a more extreme version of Maggots and Beckett's from Silverstone. I don't know if it's just me, but it definitely feels like that. The S section in particular.
Yes, is a Suzuka. I don't think there's a driver out there who hates that section of the track, or maybe there is, who knows. Vix356 ended up losing a bit of his rear going through that part of the track, but he keeps it well and good as he goes through, enters sector 2.
Well, like you said, that nobody hates the sector 1. I doubt there is any driver who hates Suzuka as a whole. It's one of those tracks that everybody likes, one of those few tracks. Oh, did I just see a Racing Point put it in the mud? Yeah, it was. I think it was Thick Nick who did that.
Unfortunately, he's on wet tires still. But we've got a couple of other drivers coming out on track on the intermediates. It's KDB, Accelerate, and Mr. Vex.
GameRare has DSQ'd, by the way, Sarthak, while you were discussing about Vix356. So I wonder what happened. Might have met with a crash or retired in the pit lane, but Vix setting a purple sector in the second one. So, wait, I have just noticed on the onboard that the rain has almost stopped.
Yep. Final corner. I see this top 10. Yeah, top 10 time it is. P9. 9th fastest out there.
Oh, so I expect the front runners to go even faster now.
KDB still not come out onto track, and the other drivers on the intermediates as well, they're still sitting in the pits.
Siknig has dived back into the pits. I think he'll be hoping for a change of the tires to inters, while KDB has come out on the inters.
Inters are the way to go indeed. UK sets the 3rd fastest lap time, last one to do it on the wet tires perhaps, and he started another fast lap time as well.
Feels so. Yeah, because he will not have enough time to go back in the pits and come out, sadly. So this has to count for him. With lap times of 1 minute 40, it's almost impossible for any of the cars on track right now to go back in, switch tires and come back out. It might be very risky, so they are stuck with what they have right now.
The rain seems to have increased just a bit, but I think
I agree.
We could possibly see them sell lap times on intermediates either way. Accelerate on his out lap, so he doesn't quite have a choice. It's either now or never. 1 minute 40.584. That lap coming through from General Pepe, fastest out there. So KDB probably on his out lap. Yep, as I presume. We'll be setting a lap time soon enough. Mind you,
Yes,
Pepe.
indeed.
Mind you, Pepe did the time on wet tires.
Yes, he did. And while KDB's lap time that he set were on 4-lap-old wets, I think with the inters he should have an edge. He's currently around 3.5 tenths behind General Pepe, so I definitely feel that he can improve. And with General Pepe having to stick to the wet tires, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for a Racing Point front row lockout if Sicknick also managed to get the pace.
Two drivers have disqualified from this session, Rusty Nishan, Gambler, and we've got 3 drivers yet to set a lap time. Also, General Pepe, KDB and Sicknick. That's the fight, isn't it, for pole position?
Indeed. And I might have miscalculated, Sarthak, because turns out the cars right now on track can pit back in for inters and come out. There is enough time, and I see General Pepe diving into the pits, so he might be doing the inters shenanigan as well.
2.5 minutes left into shock qualifying, and we got KDB on a fast lap.
He has a good track in front of him, like no traffic at all, so that should help.
Set a personal best sector 1. Bit of lock up in the rear left.
That was very jagged, if I say so. I could feel his vibrations just by looking at the screen. Yeah, the rain has definitely increased, and the inters may not be offering
goes wide,
any advantage right now.
Yeah, almost goes wide. Through sector 2 he goes. Probably not his best lap, I'd presume, but considering sector 1 was, I wonder what sector 2 will be. Should give him not a personal best.
Well, the rain definitely didn't help things, and it's too late to pit now. And I think this will be his last quali lap.
Final corner. Across the line, KDB, does he do better than his previous time? No, he does not.
Almost 1 second worse than the pole time. 1 second, 300ths slower. 3/10ths slower.
Let's jump to Sicknick, who is on a fast lap, after which we jump to RB Ferrello, who's yet to set a lap time.
That's very odd. 18 minutes and not a single lap time set. Worrying, given that he's in the title fight still.
Sicknick looks like he's going slower than usual. Is he saving? Oh no. Alright. Let's just stay on board Sicknick.
Yeah, I think he might be going for
another lap.
Another lap?
I presume, yeah. He's abandoned this one. And he'll be going for another fast lap, hoping to beat his teammates' time. Meanwhile, General Pepe is still in the pits, so I don't think he'll be coming out, Ruds. He won't be making it for another fast lap. 1 minute 40.584 from General Pepe. Let's stay on board Sicknick as he begins another lap. Now, Baby Shumi steers clear to make sure the track's clear for Sicknick. Yep, that's
and I'm afraid
RB
Ferrello can't set a time as well, Sarthak, because he's run out of time while on his outlap.
He's overextended his chances. Unfortunate for him. He'll be starting P16 at the back of the pack alongside his teammate. Okay, not alongside his teammate, but real close, that's sure. Right in front.
Well, could we see a classic RB Ferrello last to first challenge? Maybe learning from our VRL guru, Big Man Joe.
Yeah. Won't be surprised if we do. But KDB does improve his lap time, 1 minute 39.116. He's in provisional pole. It's only his teammate who can take it away from him and possibly even accelerate. And the likes of the other drivers from P11, from 11th fastest to 15th fastest. What do you think?
Sicknick is the difference between a front row lockout and a Racing Point sandwich. Either way, that's entertainment for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Both are good scenarios, to be honest.
Yeah, and entertainment for the 7 of them watching right now. Make sure you drop in the chat who you're here for, which driver are you here to show your support.
Ooh, I think that is a bit slower than
Yes,
what should have been.
incredibly slow, in fact. But yep, he's
Yeah, not
not,
improving on his time.
not gonna. Oh, but he does
Oh, he
just
does.
enough, just enough to
Oh.
ensure a Racing Point front row lockout. 2 consecutive races in the Bwoah Racing League.
And I just realized that the second place car is 1.357 seconds behind KDB. So that was a monstrous lap. And he's the only driver who went under 140, Sarthak, today.
Brilliant. You love to see this, don't you, Rids? I mean, the best lap times being set on Suzuka.
Definitely. I feel Signic gained almost half a second in the last part of the track.
He did his job pretty well. Starting P2, front row lockout for the Racing Points, and special mention to our good friend Gouts, who's starting 7th on the grid.
Always the underrated driver on the grid. There's a reason he's our driver champion favorite. I'm never letting that run out of steam.
Yep, it's the man who got his times into the 1 minute 39's KDB on pole position. Good to see Accelerate back in form. Of course, wet race, so you'd expect that. Accelerate 5th fastest, so he'll be starting P5. Horning right up there, P6. Mercedes, fortunate to see their form not being to the mark it was when the season started. They were the first drivers to ensure a front row lockout in the league. But yeah, Horning making sure he starts in a brilliant position for the race. Setu RC18 returns and he'll be starting in 11th. And other significant starts include Baby Shumi, who will be starting P13.
We have 5 drivers on the Inter, so that's KDB, Sicknig, Accelerate, Horning, and Vix. While the rest of the grid will start from wets if the race is wet. But something tells me we could have a dry race on hand. I'm not sure if F1 works that way.
This is where we wait, folks. We wait for.
It is dry.
It is dry, yep. Accelerate, smile quickly, got wiped away.
Faded.
Yeah.
It wiped away faster than the sun wiped those clouds away.
Yeah. Indeed, it did.
But that means free choice, Sarthak.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what the teams will select, especially the front row. I wonder what they'll select because it would pay to be on the alternate strat, like both drivers on separate strats, but maybe they can just go for the long haul at the same strategy. Very curious.
To see. Yeah, Racing Points. See what they do, and General Pepe, of course, he's leading the championship. It's a lot like last weekend, how KDB on pole position with his teammate right behind, and Pepe in the mix, but he's leading the championship. After the race as well, he continued to lead the championship. This is going to be interesting. Unfortunate for RB Ferrero, I really hoped he'd set a lap time.
Yeah, I wonder what sort of issues he ran into because not setting a single time in almost 20 minutes is a bit worrisome. So maybe he was having issues, maybe, or he just could not set a component enough time.
Big Man Joe in the chat mentions how alternate strat not very strong here.
Well, that puts things in the mix. So I guess the Racing Points will be on similar strategies.
Yeah. Okay, UK has readied up. We'll have the formation lap, 1 lap around the circuit for the drivers to heat up their tires, and they'll line up on the grid. Just begin with the race.
Well, looks like Sicknig and Horning are the only ones on mediums in top 10. So I was right in a way. The Racing Points are on different strategies.
Pepe goes hards.
Ooh, so the top 3 cars are on 3 different tire compounds. Very interesting how this shapes out.
This should be interesting. But yep, see those Racing Points in front is absolutely beautiful. And Big Man Joe, real quick to point out how the Racing Points were very dominant last season with Drunken Monkey and Mix 356 in that team. Absolutely brilliant. Not to mention Rod's UK right up there. He's starting P4, back after a couple of races.
Yep, and he'll be looking to gain some serious points today. We just
okay.
saw.
Bit of break.
I think that was Daniel Pepe rear-ending Sickening and both have been DSQ'd.
Yeah, and so did UK and Accelerate in the process. Unfortunate for them. But that
That's
will be
very sad.
reviewed by the stewards perhaps post-race.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it was Sickening maybe braking too hard accidentally and Pepe rear-ending him. Or maybe Pepe was just driving a bit too fast. But either way, collateral damage for UK and Accelerate, sadly.
Big Manjo is surprised at the fact that General Pepe picked the hards.
Yep, he
Clearly we have a
definitely would be
race.
surprised.
Yeah,
He was doubting the alternate strategy, and then to see the second and third car going on alternate strategy is a risk, but it might pay off very well. We also had the pit strategy pop up a while ago with the soft runners pitting around lap 10 or 11, with the mediums going a bit farther until lap 15-16. But I would suggest they may pit at lap 14 at max. Don't want to overcook those tires in Japan.
Yeah. As I go through the cars out on track, only Copy IOX 24. They had a promising weekend last weekend, but this weekend looks like they're back to square one in some ways. They're starting P12 and P14 respectively. But yeah, probably a lot of positions to climb at the start of the race. Speaking of starts, KDB on pole position, Sickening locking out that front row, 4 racing points, 27 laps on Suzuka is yet to begin as the 5 lights go out and the driver shoot down the main straight. KDB gets an impeccable start. Sickening, a bit rusty there, gives opportunity for UK and General Pepe in the mix. UK got sandwiched and got sent out of the track. General Pepe gets a position. Sickening loses one and Accelerates running in the top 3. Horning gets a position as well. Unfortunate for UK. I can't believe this has happened again for him. Virtual safety car is out, Rids. I mean, they barely made it into turn 1.
I am speechless at this point. I have nothing but sympathy for UK, and I just don't know what else to say. He's down in P16. I just feel sad for the guy at this point.
And just like that, I mean, Sickening got a horrible start, and he was trying to make sure no one could get that advantage on him, and he was steering to the left, and so was General Pepe to his defense. So, yeah, I wonder whose fault it really was. Regardless, we'll find out post-race. Virtual safety car is off, and the race is begun once again. Pepe up in a P2, conveniently finds himself behind his rival.
Well, I was actually, I had my camera set on Sickening, to be honest, like since the start, and while I was in his POV, I almost saw him crash into the pit wall. That he got a lot of wheel spin, and it led him to the wall. Somehow saved himself, but to put pressure on the middle car like that, UK just got squeezed, and sadly, it just caused him to spin out. Avi also spun out along with UK a bit further ahead, so the two of them are at the back now.
Also in the midfield, of course, Gouts alongside the driver who he practices the most with, some might say, Horning, has climbed a position. Gouts up in a P5.
Well, Horning will definitely look to make the move stick. He's less than a second behind God. Decent enough to follow, but in Japan, dirty air is a real concern.
And as I mentioned, only Kapi did make quite the start. He had 4 positions gained in that start. He's up in a P8. Got Seto RC18 to worry about on his tail. RB Ferrello closing in on Gambler and Baby Shumi.
Pretty mixed up grid today, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Gambler and Baby Shumi, wheel to wheel, and Baby Shumi spun. He's lost it. I think Gambler was a tad bit too aggressive, but then again he gave Baby Shumi just enough space. Regardless, Shumi gets sent into a spin and Gambler continues on. I think that did force RB Ferrell to lose a bit of time to Gambler as well. He was real close. He he was expecting a mistake being made by either of the drivers, but not to cost him in the process.
Oh, Rashinish seems to have spun Sarthak. Yeah, yep, and he had to reset the track. He's lost the right end plate. So, another accident. KDB setting the fastest lap at 1:30.8, almost 10 seconds faster than his pole time.
A pretty textbook pass, if I might say, by RB Ferrero. Gets the slipstream he needs and makes the pass on Gambler. Up ahead, Horning seems to be losing position. After position, lost one to Mr. Wex as well.
I wonder what's wrong. Does not seem to have any damage, so pretty odd. No, I think he does have damage. Yep, he does not have a left end plate. So Horning has lost a part of his front wing. That explains it. But he's on the mediums, so he has to go long, sadly.
Let's stay on board Sicknick. He's closing in, regardless of the fact that he's on mediums and Accelerate up ahead is on softs. He's almost wheel to wheel with Accelerate. Sector 3 goes yellow. Wonder what's wrong there. But yeah, wheel to wheel gets the car onto the grass a bit, but they stay wheel to wheel as they go through Sector 3. Sector 2, in fact, my bad. And Accelerate goes wide. Sicknick keeps it on the tail of Accelerate. We see a pass here, yep.
He'll have the slipstream, and that's all you need on the straight.
Should get it done. And this part of the track overextends his chances over that corner. Both go wide, as it seems. Accelerate did try to peek around the outside. He keeps his position at the exit of Sector 3.
The compound coming in, great advantage for Accelerate. You have the softs. You're definitely expected to win the traction contest.
Oh, Vex taking the fight to Gouts last time around. It got real dodgy. He locks up the front right. Pretty sure Gouts is saying, Vex, take it easy. Don't let this end up like how it did last time around. We're on lap number 4 and KDB leads this race.
KDB will have to do everything in his power to build a significant lead enough so that he can not only pull off a 1-stop but even a 2-stop if required. So far, a 3-second gap is okay. Vex getting 3-second time penalty while I mentioned that, but maybe a 5-second gap to General Pepe would be a bit more relaxing for KDB.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. Back of the pack. Gambler and Baby Shumi within half a second of each other, and there was contact. He's lost an end plate yet again, Gambler. And this time it was D'Avocado. Apologies there. D'Avocado, Gambler, and Baby Shumi all within half a second of each other. Sector 1 lights up yellow. He is
well, there are battles happening all around, Sarthak. There are battles happening all around.
Great to see, considering we've only been through 5 laps of the race. Also, up ahead, KDB is gaining time on General Pepe. As his teammate...
Well, 1 second in a lap.
Yeah, and as his teammate's trying to peek down the inside of Accelerate, Sicknick pushing these mediums to the limit.
I hope that Sicknick is not overdriving the car, because starting on the mediums and then having to pit along with the soft runners is a waste at the end of the day, and he needs to capitalize on the longer strategy, which I think will be a bit difficult right now given that he's sandwiched between all the soft runners.
And Accelerate gets the car onto the grass for a bit. This battle of Sicknick trying to close the gap to Accelerate and going wheel to wheel in some parts of the track, clearly costing time to the other drivers behind them. They go wheel to wheel again, the same part of the track they did last lap, and this time around could Sicknick possibly hold on to the position? Yes, he does. And I paused for a second because I saw one of the sectors light up yellow, and I was worried if Gouts had a spin right behind.
Well, sadly, Rusty Nish seems to have disconnected from the game, and he just rebooted the game. And he's in the pit right now, so that is unfortunate. Yeah. That's his race spoiled for the day.
And that's super unfortunate for us, Dinesh. But up ahead, Gouts closing in on Accelerate, has DRS and Slipstream. Everything he needs, a perfect pass in anyone's book. Up into P4 he goes.
Well, Mr. Wex and Gamler, the only drivers on penalties right now. It's been a rather clean race if I were to ignore the starting lap drama, but that's gonna hurt. That's gonna sting. UK is in P15, some sort of damage control, but it's still unfortunate. From P4 to P15, it's just brutal.
I've lost all intervals out on track, Ruds, so you'll have to guide me to a possible battle happening anywhere out on track for a bit. The
heart of the battle is still with X-Raid and Mr. Wex, to be honest.
Closing in, Wex racked up a time penalty already.
Yep, he has a 3-second time penalty, so I think that'll just make him drive a bit more aggressive. He tends to do that, and now he's making a move on Accelerate. Oh, easy move before 130R, and yep, he has gained the position now. Meanwhile, Sarthak, if you notice, RB Ferrello is in P11 already.
Okay, he's making the climb that he needs to. Podium position is what he always aims for to keep him in contention for the title. Of course, the win will be sweeter, won't it?
Yep, and it will help him close the gap, because right now the gap is just increasing for both KDB and RB Ferrello. So neither of them want anything less than a win.
Only Kapi trying to close that gap to Horning. That should have him on the next lap, I presume. Horning on the mediums as well.
I think the race is starting to settle into a rhythm, and it's been calm while still having battles, but I still feel that the lap 1 incident has ruffled quite a few feathers. And yeah, I think the stewards are going to have a field day this week.
Pretty sure Diavocaro getting the car onto the grass. UK should have the time, should have a gap he needs, peeks down the inside, gets the move done, and Avi will try to do the same as well. Both drivers get the pass done on Diavocaro. He loses 2 positions within a corner.
Mr. Wex is almost making a move on Gods. He seems to be less than 2 tenths behind. Yup, gets the DRS as well.
That was a bit sketchy, wouldn't you say? But drives alongside of Gouts. Gouts tucks in right behind.
I almost thought Wex lost his front wing and rear-ended Gods, but
I did too.
Thank God.
I thought it would end up being just like the last time these two were fighting wheel to wheel around the track.
It's never a calm moment when Wex is behind or ahead of you.
Possibly calmer than when Vix356 is behind or ahead of you, but yeah, you didn't hear that from me. Speaking of Vix356, he gets a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Staying on board RB Ferrello, however. We got quite the DRS train forming in the midfield, Guruds.
Yeah, it is extremely difficult to get out of this DRS train, because it's just gonna be I give you the boost, you give me the boost, and so on. But at least it will help them close up to the front runners. I think the biggest gap right now for the midfield is only Kapi, 4 seconds behind Accelerate.
Yeah, and RB Ferrello possibly the driver poised to capitalize on this whole DRS train. Could he, with the pace he's got? He's trying to make the pass on Hyrox 24 stick first, which he's clearly not able to get close enough to. He's got Seto RC18 to worry about ahead.
Yep, and I think the soft runners better make any moves they want. Like right about now, they will be pitting in a lap or two. The tires will be approaching their cliff right now.
Hyrox 24 has slipstream DRS and everything. Setu RC18 up ahead. Will try to defend as much as he can. There was contact as well. Doesn't get pushed off track, so that's great for him. Stays, but RB Ferrello is breathing down his gearbox right now, but still remains behind him.
And while we watch this, KDB picked up a 3-second time penalty, so that's all his hard work undone. And the lead is, the gap to General Pepe, in fact, is back to 3 seconds.
Early break.
Pepe seems to be falling, Sarthak. You look at the time.
Yeah.
A lot.
Doesn't he? Let's stay on board. RB Ferrello quite a battle behind. Regardless, General Pepe losing time. Perhaps maybe Big Man Joe was right after all.
But I think he saw the penalty from KDB and started to relax a little because he knows that KDB will push more to make up for the time and make more mistakes. Ooh, Harry Rocks and Setu both going wide. RB Ferrello could not take advantage of it.
But Hyrox 24 did end up getting that position he was fighting for. He's up in a P9. Now RB Ferrello looking at these two. Do we see a double pass?
Oh, Setu being brave there, but let's see who breaks late. Setu playing safe. Good call.
Incredibly close on his gearbox. And he's lost time. RB Ferrello will get the momentum he needs alongside Setu RC18. Has everything he requires. Going into the next corner, Hyrox 24 up ahead. Will stay on his gearbox for possibly another lap, I presume.
You have overtaking chances at Suzuka, but they are so narrow in terms of the current regulation cars that any potential move like that will mean disaster for both the cars. We saw it at lap 1 and we have seen it multiple times otherwise. I think the tastiest overtake at this track is on the 130R. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean,
is there any other answer to it?
It's a given, as I always say. It's a given. The 130R. You know, parts like the 130R, of course, Spa-Francorchamps, where you got Radeon and Eau Rouge. I know I get a lot of flack for saying that wrong, so Big Man Joe, take it easy on me this time around.
Well, I can help you. It's Eau Rouge.
Eau Rouge, okay.
Yes, and that's it. You know French.
3-second time penalty for only Kapi, and 2 cars are off track.
Well, that was sudden.
Setu RC18 and only Kapi. I wonder if that was what happened there. But only Kapi losing out on the positions he had gained since the start of the race. Fortunate for him. Up ahead, however, KDB has gone into the pits and is coming out on fresh set of mediums. General Pepe takes the lead of this race.
Well, RB Ferrello making light work of Harry Rocks using DRS.
KDB almost lost it right out the pits. The 3-second time penalty for Rick 356 as well. After multiple warnings. Oh, he's lost it, he's lost his air, he's out on the gravel. The driver who started on pole position is forced to reset his car back on track. It almost seemed like he was headed straight to the barriers, but great, he's able to reset it real quick.
Well, he's almost 21 seconds behind General Pepe, and that is a gap he has to get back. He's 22 seconds behind General Pepe, and I think a pit stop in Suzuka takes around 24 seconds, so he's just at the cusp, but General Pepe will have fresher tires, quicker tires in fact. So, oh, is this too close to call, Sarthak? I don't know, maybe KDB might be feeling a little uncomfortable.
Perhaps. He's got another title driver closing in on him, regardless, of course. The tire life on the title rival's car is clearly a lot more. 10-lap-old mediums RB Ferrello up in P8. He's yet to pit, of course, KDB being the first one to pit. Could we see these two battle it out earlier than we'd expected it to be?
I doubt it because RB Ferrello does have DRS, but oh yeah, he's right behind KDB now, but he is at a decent enough distance. I just hope that KDB has not flat spotted his tires because that will take out a huge chunk and maybe another pit stop on the cards.
Both Guts and Mr. Vex have pitted for fresh mediums. They'll be coming out P9 and P8 and P9 respectively.
Well, are we already seeing
Wex?
People approach back markers? I think so.
I think something went wrong with the pit stop perhaps, or wasn't Wex running behind Guts?
Oh, I'm glad you said that, Sathak, because I was about to mention the same thing, that I think Wex beat Gods in the pits, but I was not too sure if it was just me who saw that.
Yeah. You don't get to see that every day with this game, do you?
Never, and who knew that the AI pits can make such mistakes?
Interesting. KDB closing in on accelerate, hoping to make up positions and time before General Pepe pits.
However, now that I look at the gap between Vex and Gods, I think Gods had a wing change as well, which might have been the reason.
Perhaps. Yeah, accelerating KDB. Title rivals last season, and KDB gets the pass done. Purple sectors, all three go light up purple for KDB as he sets the fastest lap time.
I think today's fast lap will go to General Pepe because he's on the hards. So that's a very easy switch to the softs for him. And yeah, I think that's 1 point to him in the championship. So KDB has to get the top step off the podium.
And on the main straight, this train of sorts is being formed. Are we in the mix as well? UK up into P11, taking the fight to Vix356, who sends the car onto grass multiple times. And there was a gap, but Vix356 shoots away.
Well, it's very close between Avi, UK and Vic. So I think UK should make the move into P10 very soon.
Sector 1 lights up yellow, and that's a McLaren. Yep, that's it towards C18 on track.
Oh, so much dust on his tires. He had a nice vacation on the gravel trap.
Vix356, of course, making sure it's as difficult as possible. A bit of contact. No, both of them steer away of each other's way, and I think Avi's the one to benefit out of these two having that battle. Avi gains both positions within a corner.
I think I saw some car parts flying. Was that just me?
Was there contact? Because on my screen I quickly switched from driver POV to TV pod, and it seemed like both were real quick at the last second steering away off of each other, but there could have been contact.
Maybe. I was on Wix's onboard on the TV pod, and I did see a tiny shrapnel flying, but I don't know if it was wing or just the animation.
UK has the slipstream and the DRS that he needs. Will peek down the inside of Avi. Avi closes in real aggressive. There was contact as well, but UK keeps it on track. He's being aggressive as well. Wheel to wheel through the sector they go, and Vix356 is closed in, and now it's a three-way battle once again.
That was some aggressive overtaking by Avi. I'm not sure if I would have appreciated that if I was in UK's place.
Yeah. Defended pretty well, Avi. But yeah, P11 UK still trying to make that climb. So towards C18 pits alongside Gambler as well.
Well, I don't see any wing damage, so UK and Vix are both safe to race at full pace. Oh, that rhymed.
Yeah. The gaps have extended between all the drivers up and down the pack. Avocado coming out on the hards. Baby Shumi on the hards as well.
Meanwhile, KDB has managed to cover close to 8 seconds to KDB, to General Pepe. He's around 17 seconds behind. So that's well within the pit window. But I think those mediums will drop off at the end, and General Pepe might be able to do something. You know, his usual magic that he always does.
UK has DRS once again, same part of the track where they fought each other wheel to wheel last lap. But this time around, he doesn't have the same momentum like he did. Yeah, we will stay P10.
I think UK should be able to get something done on the straight in Sector 3. But until then, it is uh, the usual train procession. Too far to make an overtake.
Yeah, Avi seems to have steamed away almost, making that gap up into a whole second.
Interestingly, both will have to pit at the same time. So that will make things a bit more spicy.
Meanwhile, fight for P15. Gambler closing in on Setu RC18.
UK too far to make a move, having to use his ERS store, which might start dwindling soon, not just for him but for others as well. Battery is very easy to use up on this straight because you just want to use all your battery on Suzuka. It's so satisfying, but then, yeah, battery management is something you do not look forward to.
Setu RC18 early with the brakes, peeks down the inside. Gambler a bit audacious, and there was contact, but Setu RC18 will benefit out of that. UK gets a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings, and that gap has extended to a second. And just as I was gonna mention it in the chat, so did Big Man Joe. Weather looks gloomy now.
I was trying not to mention it because then it would be, oh, UK spins. And I think there's definitely water on the track. I think we might be seeing something soon. There, maybe.
It's the second time penalty for Vic C56 after multiple warnings.
Yeah, I was hoping not to mention it. Now that Danny has mentioned it, we can safely go ahead and say, you know, it was not a commentator's jinx for the weather. But this changes things up. Johnny Pepe has just pitted, by the way, Sarthak.
Coming out of the softs.
Imagine if he pits, he is on the softs. He has been overtaken by KDB.
KDB retakes the lead of the race. Sicknick pitting as well.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, if it rains now, that levels the playing field because now both of them have made a pit stop and the gap is in KDB's favor.
Ten laps left into the Japanese GP of the Bwoah Racing League Season 4. 8 of you all watching, make sure you drop in the chat. Who are you here for? Who do you think is going to come out on top as KDB leads this race ahead of championship leader General Pepe?
General Pepe already covering 5 tenths in half a lap, so I don't know what to tell you now, Sarthak.
Sicknick is running in P5 and he's closing the gap, getting position after position as well. He has closed that gap within half a second to Hyrox 24, and Horning's real close as well up ahead. Sector 1 lights up yellow. I wonder which car that is.
That seems to be a Williams, if I'm not wrong.
Meanwhile, the other Williams
going
wheel to wheel
Yes,
with Racing Point, and pushes him wide as well. But Sicknick comes back on track. I'm sorry to cut you off, Roods. But Sicknick up in a P4, and yep, that was only a couple.
Yeah, Sicknick will have the advantage of the tires right now. There's just too much grip. Hopefully it does not rain, because if it does, it massively changes all the standing, all the results currently that we have.
Guess who else pitted as well, Druds? RB Ferrello on fresh set of softs.
So we'll be looking at a lot of different outcomes in the next few laps. Anything can change with just some damp stars.
Yeah, peeks down the inside, gets a clean pass on Gouts as well. RB Ferrello up into P5, taking that fight to the front runners.
Vic 356 gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That seems to be his favorite penalty for some reason. Gets one on almost every track. It's a struggle, I can confirm. I've tried it and it's just so difficult to time.
At the very back of the pack, Rusty and Nish trying to close that gap to the Avocado, possibly jump into P17. Is within half a second of the Avocado, has the slipstream that he needs, peeks down the inside, perfect pass. This is the Rusty and Nish we know, up into P17 he goes.
And while that was happening, RB Ferrello has set a purple first sector. So he is definitely on a charge right now. Let's see if he can make a purple second sector. General Pepe having reduced the gap, going below 130. So KDB is in danger.
The hits just keep on coming with the boys up in front. The top 5, quite the fight we're gonna see. Abi Ferrello, how much more can you climb?
Well, I don't think that'll be a purple lap, but it'll definitely be a good lap. Oh, it is a purple lap. 3 tenths quicker than General Pepe on that fast lap. Sadly for KDB, he has a penalty and he lost almost 7 to 8 seconds when he spun in Sector 1. So that was a potential of 10 seconds lost in those 20 laps.
Siknik losing time to Pepe. He was 18 seconds away, now he's 19
Arbi Ferrero
seconds.
spins as well, Sarthak.
Oh, unfortunate.
At the same spot where KDB spun.
Disaster for Arbi Ferrero. He was making a good and promising climb. He was up into P5, now he's down to P6. Not too far off, yet I wonder if there's a bit of damage on that car.
There was luckily no damage, but he spun at the exact same place where KDB spun. Both of them took that exact curb on the outside, and it's just too much for the red tires.
Hyrox 24 has a slipstream he needs on horning. Will peek down the inside a bit aggressively, late braking into that corner. The avocado up ahead goes wide, but he's getting lapped, so it won't affect Hyrox 24 in any way. And he's up into P8, Hyrox 24. Brilliant pass by him. Sector 1's lighting up yellow, I wonder why.
I think it's the same glitch that we saw in Singapore. Or no, in Sochi, if you remember in Sector 1 where every car passed and it used to become yellow. I think we're seeing something similar.
Meanwhile, at the back of the pack, Seto RC18 closing that gap to Baby Shumi alongside each other as they go through Sector 2. Baby Shumi gets passed by Seto RC18. Gambler peeks down the inside as well. So while General Pepe formulates, okay, Gambler loses it, spins in Sector 2. Baby Shumi will keep P15 for now.
It has been a decent race for Baby Shumi, to be honest. Like, holding his own in P15 might not be the best result, but after close to 2 months of no racing, this is definitely a good return, I guess.
Avi has spun out on Sector 1 and he's lost half of his front wing.
That's got a sting. Yep, he's even lost the fins on the right side. So that is an orange or a red color damage.
Yeah, and Vixie56 closing that gap to only Kapi within half a second of him.
If you look at Avi, he's just out there drifting in the gravel. It's super difficult and he will have to pit.
Yeah, Vixie56
no other option.
Down the inside, only Kapi trying his best to keep his position. Could we possibly see the wicks of old, at least for the points positions?
Oh, Wix had a horrible exit, but he should have the slipstream. Yes, he does. Is it good enough for 130R? Yes, it is. Overtaking on the 130R on the inside, Sarthak. Have you seen that often?
Yeah. Not at all, but it's Vixie56, folks. Androids.
He never does things the normal way, does he?
6. But yeah, he's got only Kapi to worry about. He steers right to make sure he doesn't give him the slipstream he needs, but he's got DRS as well. They're going wheel to wheel, but only Kapi has more momentum going into that corner. Goes wide, gets forced wide in my opinion, but Vixie56 holds on to that position. Folks, there you go, Vixie56 for y'all. Let's quickly jump to the front run as well, lap number 22. 5 laps left and a huge gap between Pepe and Siknig.
To be honest, all General Pepe has to do is keep within 3 seconds of KDB and the win is his. KDB on 3 seconds, Mr. Wex on 3 seconds, Harry Rocks 3 and Horning 3. But sadly, Wex 356, Arthur, can you just guess the number? I think that would be a much better way to announce it.
Best not to, because Gauts and Abi Ferrello go wheel to wheel. We jump right to the big C56 soon enough. But Abi Ferrello, what a move there. He's up in a P4 already. But yep. You shoot the number, Ruds.
Well, Wix 356 is on 14 seconds of time penalties. So that is going to drop him pretty harshly at the end. God's doing decently as well. I think he qualified P7. So this is a climb in today's race.
But none like the climb Arvi Ferrello's made, hasn't it? And only copy of XC56 still within a second reach. A 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings from General Pepe.
That changes things.
Alright, we're on level playing field once again, folks.
We've got ourselves a race.
Yeah, 4 laps left into race number 18, and we've got both the drivers who finished P1 and P2 from last season in the chat. Apparently SV11 finds himself to be in a humble position of being able to give the other boys a chance to dominate this race like they did the last time around. SV11, how about less excuses and possibly come out on track and race?
Oof, I did not expect you to fire such shots from the commentary box today. But that was a sizzling one.
It's SV.
It was a sizzling one.
I have to. It's SV.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was pretty spicy.
Yeah, so now Pepe has to overtake is the call from Big Man Joe, and clearly he's trying to close that gap as well. Corner by corner, of course. 11 lap old mediums KDB leads this race. We're on lap number 23, and the title fight continues. Pepe in P2. He's closing the gap. Look at how he's making up time, Ruds.
Well, he has the better compound. He has the fresher tires. Almost loses the back end at the chicane, but he has the tire as well as life advantage over KDB. So I still can't predict, to be honest. I think KDB will have to concede, but I'm curious to see how much he can defend.
Lap number 24, Setu RC18 closing in on Avi as well at the back of the pack. Mr. Wex racks up a 3-second time penalty in the process after multiple warnings.
Well, I think God's able to relax a little after getting that penalty, news from Mr. Wex side.
Look at General Pepe go through those corners in Sector 2. He's closing in on KDB.
He's capturing almost 5 to 6 tenths a lap. So I think he will make the move on KDB on the second last lap, which is just heartbreak.
3-second time penalty for Setu RC18.
We might see a situation like Paul Ricard last weekend when Max overtook in the second last lap. Maybe something similar today.
Yeah, he's within a second now, General Pepe, as they go through Sector 3, 130R, and over a second. He won't have DRS on the main straight. KDB is safe for now. Avocado racks up a 3-second time penalty. He's running P18, not the race he was hoping for.
I feel everyone will be approaching the end of their battery life. Yeah. So overtakes will be a bit difficult for these last 3 laps. Not impossible, but definitely difficult.
KDB is conserving. Also in the chat, Big Man Joe says Ferrero as driver of the day.
I would second that, to be honest. Definitely. He gained, I think, 11 positions. He was P15 or 16 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, he was P16 with 2 DNFs. So that's a 12th position climb. He's too far away from Sicknick to make any sort of impact, but he's held his own pretty reasonably well.
Pepe is teaming at this point, but the gap still way about 1 second. So is KDB. Sector 1 lights up yellow. I wonder if that was a Williams.
Yes, it is. I think it's only Kapi. Nope, it's not. It's Harry Rocks who was the unfortunate one this time.
Now within a second of KDB, won't have DRS, which he also needs right now. General Pepe.
These 2 laps are gonna be bangers. I can already see, but it will be heartbreak for one and rejoice for another.
I mean, think about it. It's General Pepe, regardless of which position he finishes, P2 or P1, he still leads the championship.
It's very, very close. If KDB wins, it is a reduction in 8 points in the gap for the Drivers' Championship. So this is something he badly needs, but that's so close.
He's incredibly close this time around. Main straight DRS, I'm pretty sure he'll have it.
I think he might have the overtake down in Sector 3 itself, Sarkar.
I don't think KDB is gonna let that slide that easy. General Pepe closing in within half a second of KDB.
The Sector 3 straight is longer than the main straight, but KDB goes wide. But yeah, if there are any good moves that can be made, it is Sector 3 because you have so much space.
Maybe you got this call right, Ruth. I don't know. KDB is threatened for position. General Pepe on the gearbox of KDB. Look how close this is. I'm surprised there's no contact, and there is. KDB loses it. He spins. He goes into the barriers. Disaster for the race leader. And General Pepe slides as well, going into the pit lane.
Was that an accidental pit entry?
What just happened in the penultimate lap of the race?
Oh no. I think that was an accidental pit entry, wasn't it, Sarthak?
Yeah, clearly looks like it. Both drivers up. I can't even imagine how they're feeling.
The funny thing is, General Pepe has 1 lap to catch up to KDB, who is without any end plates or wings. Sicknick overtakes General Pepe, so that is disaster for the constructors as well now.
Sector 2 goes yellow. KDB, regardless of the time penalties, I think the gap is big enough to Sicknick, so he won't be threatened by it. But by the looks of it, as he goes through entering Sector 2, I'm not going to say anything yet because General Pepe is still in the fight. He's within half a second of Sicknick. He's hoping for a P2 finish. Sicknick will defend aggressively, as one would might think so. No, Sicknick goes a bit wide, still gets it back on track. Pepe trying to close that gap, trying to get that move done, hopefully back into P2. Nasty corner there. But up ahead, let's stay on board. KDB is into Sector 3. I mean, what a race. I'm pretty sure his heart skipped a beat when he was sent spinning off into the barriers. But yeah, KDB, brilliant race by him. Pole position and to a win which is set in sight as he goes through the penultimate corner and final corner. KDB will go through the final corner. It's Suzuka circuit. KDB wins the Japanese GP of Bwoah Racing League Season 4 and it's fight for position for P2 as he goes around the outside. General Pepe Sicknick fighting for P2. This is a possible P1 and P2 finish for Racing Point, which they will have considering General Pepe has time penalties. Racing Point 1 and 2, folks. What a race. What a race.
Well, I think this is the first race where the front row ended up on the front row.
RB Ferrello, what a climb. P16 to P3, podium position for the man. And Pepe, after an unfortunate incident, finishes P4.
Well, that was entertaining.
I need to take a breath after that one.
In my opinion, this race was better than Paul Ricard.
I'm sure. What a race it's been. Pepe gets a good points haul. RB Ferrero gets a good, even better points haul in my opinion, because it's a given. KDB, Sicknig, they're pretty much untouchable at this point for the constructors. And Gouts P5, Rabian Pepe, Mr. Vex P6, Accelerate finishes P7, Horning finishes P8.
We all have been focusing on Racing Point as the resurgent team, but Gods has been charging the Ferrari as well in second half.
And of course, RB Ferrero gets the driver of the day. And yep, all eyes on the Racing Point boys. They locked out the front row 2 consecutive race weekends in a row, and they get the first 1-2 finish in the league. KDB and Sicknig, folks. KDB and Sicknig. Yeah, but of course, one thing's on the balance, as in the chat it's being mentioned, is Sicknig possibly could face a time penalty of sorts for that lap 1 incident with UK.
Both for sure.
Yeah, both Sicknig and General Pepe for that matter. I'm
definitely expecting a kind of a severe penalty, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. But unfortunate for UK once again, and unfortunate for Rusty Nish as well for the disconnection. But what a race we've had at Suzuka. For the 9 of y'all who watched till the very end, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next race weekend. And Ruds, that was an entertaining one, wasn't it?
Yep, made my Sunday.
Yeah, made mine too. But on to Formula 1. Great, I've forgotten real Formula 1 races now.
It's Austria.
Yeah.
And it will be Austria next weekend too, so you better not forget that.
Styrian GP, yep. I mean, I still can't get over those last couple of laps. Anyway, 9 of you all who stayed till the very end, thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're just 3 away from 100. Cheers.